Ike Diaz live. Ike Diaz live. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. How's everybody doing? I want to thank everybody for tuning in. How's everybody? Yeah, we couldn't get the dang thing to work, and now it's like tripping on Alvis fly. Hold on, you're gonna have to go without the. Yeah, we couldn't get the dang thing to work, and now it's like tripping on Alvis fly. Hold on, you're gonna have to go without the.
Having some little bit of technical difficulties here. Sorry, everyone. Trying to get it all worked out. Didn't expect for it to be like this.
I'll be golden in just a second, don't worry.
My apologies for the delay.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. 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 I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I should have just left it on the other way because it's working like that anyway. Sorry for the delay, everybody, guys. We're getting this fixed real quick, guys, and we'll get into our podcast for the evening. It's going to be awesome.
Yep, it's going to be phenomenal. Make sure you tune in and don't get bored.
Don't get bored with us tonight now. I know it's late, guys, so I want to thank everybody who does tune in tonight. It's cool. Make sure you log on to YouTube to check it out. I know, what are you on Facebook over there?
Yep.
Facebook. Hopefully that the sound all came out right when we load it up right now.
But today's podcast is on altruism, and then from there we're going to try to transition into talking about global warming. Thank you, Ike Diaz, for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. It's my first podcast ever. I know I was featured on one of your podcasts earlier, but I really didn't consider that one of my first podcasts. Tonight, I just wanted to see your thoughts on altruism and also on global warming. And again, I want to thank you, Ike, for having me on the show.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome you're here, dude. Make sure you check out the jam tonight after we get done here. This is Ike Diaz Live with my co-host, Dapper Mike tonight. Gabriel.
All right, Ike. So, first question: what do you think about altruism?
We can start it out like that, man. I think that people. Okay, so mainstream is trying to bring love into the equation, right? They want everybody to live off of love. Love is just out there, you know what I'm saying? But in all reality, it's like it's a wonderful thing to be able to offer things, to be able to give, to be able to associate yourself with doing good things for others. That's the whole thing about it. You wanna do as much as you can for everybody else, man. And in my life, I went years, trying to, because the first part of my life, sorry, excuse me, guys, my voice is acting up. But the first part of my life, I was kind of selfish. I admit it. You know what I mean? But then, during the second part of my life, I've been as giving as possible and trying to be considerate and trying to learn and trying to be a fair person. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So my whole theory on it is that you have to be a good person, or else I don't like to say the K word, you know what I'm saying? Like I know you know what word I'm talking about. I don't believe in that word.
Is there a way you're able to say it, because some of our viewers don't know what you're talking about. It would be really helpful if you were able to say it. If not, I understand.
No, I just the karma word. I just don't like that word at all. You know what I mean? I just don't.
Okay.
I don't like the word. I think it's a word that don't need to be used. You know what I'm saying? Because um, it's a real thing, but I just don't. I don't subscribe to it, because if you're doing the right thing and you're trying to help as many people as possible, then you shouldn't have to worry about that word. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, like people always say that K word's a B. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when people say that, I'm like, well, okay, well, that's their belief. You know what I mean? That's not my belief. That's their belief.
We all know what that B word is. I'm not going to ask you to say it, because we want to keep this one PG. I want this podcast to be for all viewers. Awesome stuff, Ike, for that first question. Thank you so much for that answer. I really enjoyed that answer. My second question is, what do you think prevents people from practicing altruism? Why can't everyone show kindness and compassion to everyone around the world? Do you think something disables them? Do they have a mental disability or anything similar to that? Or what's your take on why everyone does not practice altruism?
I don't want to bring mental disabilities into it, because it goes way far beyond that. I think that people are a lot of times self-centered, and they don't realize till they get to a certain age what the meaning of life is, and how they're supposed to treat people, and you know, if they do want to get treated good back, they have to learn to treat people with the respect that they want back. You know what I'm saying? Because some people just don't have any respect at all for humanity at all, and that's why they get treated like they do in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Like you could take two people, you could run this experiment with two people, and you can give them $20,000 a piece, and you could tell them that they have to go out and they have to spend it on good things, on charities, on just different things like that, and they get 30 days, right? This is an experiment. And
have you conducted this experiment before, or you just?
I've read about this experiment.
Okay.
So at the end of 30 days, what do you think happened?
It's hard to say.
One of the people went out and actually donated to charities, worked for churches, volunteered at places, gave all the money to charities. The other person spent most of the money on themselves. You know what I mean? And this was a experiment I read about at Stanford, that they had actually gave these people. Stanford does so many experiments, man. Like a lot of those TED Talks that we were talking about earlier, they come from Stanford.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? So this was an experiment they ran, and I read about this, and I was pretty shocked about that. One person out of the two people that I read about, one didn't even try to spend the money the way they were asked to spend it. You know what I mean?
Wow. My teacher, Mrs. Lewandowski, she really loves the TED Talks. Can you tell the video that you got it from? Or was this a TED Talk or not?
No, I read about this in a book about Stanford.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm saying is that most of the people who speak at the TED Talks,
okay, I understand,
went to Stanford. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or have ties to Stanford. You got to think they these elite schools like Yale, Harvard, all these schools, but Stanford goes back to the 60s, 70s with all these different experiments. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We could take the rice experiment, and I'm pretty sure it was done at Stanford. You take 3 buckets of rice, right? Or three bins of rice, right? In glass jars, right?
Okay.
And you tell one that you love it every day. Every day you love it. You love it. One, you don't pay no attention to it,
Okay.
right? And then another one, you tell them you hate it. You don't like it. So at the end of this experiment, this is another Stanford experiment. I forgot the name of the guy who did the experiment. This is a really famous experiment. What do you think happened to all those rices? This is part of the conversation we're in. You know what I mean? What do you think happened to the rices?
I have no clue. Educate me on what happened.
So the rice that you tell I love you too every day,
Yeah.
and that you care about, and you show it actually stood fresh, smelled fresh. The one that you didn't pay any attention to, this was kind of dull, didn't really move, didn't really do nothing. And the rice that you were mean to, that you were rude to, that you talked bad about, actually turned colors and smelled.
Okay.
At the end of the experiment.
Wow, that's a really interesting experiment.
And
that's a really incredible experiment.
I actually read about that experiment, and I also watched a video on that experiment.
Wow, that's incredible. So, where did you watch that video?
True Stream Media. Actually, I'll put a link in the description. True Stream Media actually did the actual.
Wow, that's incredible.
The actual experiment. Man.
What do you think about that? I think that's incredible.
It's the power of thought, man. The power of intention, man.
So you think there's a really positive side to altruism then?
Yeah, if the more love you put into something, the better your life is gonna be when you wake up and you're happy about your life, and you love yourself and you care about yourself and you love people around you. That's why you see these people that are really happy and really, outgoing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see people that are really grumpy and not outgoing and not positive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's part of the main reason. At the beginning of this, guys, when you guys run it back, we're doing this is live right now. So at the beginning of this, there might be some muffling, but we'll try to edit that later, guys. So because we were trying to get the headphones to work correctly. For some reason tonight they weren't working correctly, but we could edit that out. So I apologize for the interruption. But Ike Diaz live with my co-host
Dapper Mike
tonight. I keep wanting to say D-Clock like always.
Well, that was an incredible experiment. That gives me an idea to go off to our next topic. It's a perfect transition. Want to ask you, since with that incredible experiment that you've seen, so with that effect of the love and affection to the rice and made it fresh still and ready to eat, probably, most likely.
Yeah, it was.
I want to ask about Mother Nature, maybe global warming. If you were to practice altruism, would you maybe prevent global warming? And are you do you really have education on global warming?
Yeah,
on that topic?
I'm really educated in global warming, man. But I think we should talk a little bit before we go into, because global warming is a big conversation. So
it just makes me wonder with that experiment of the rice.
Yeah.
If we all practice altruism with Mother Nature, do you think we wouldn't have any pollution, less pollution, or what do you think about that? If we all practice altruism,
you gotta remember, pollution is man-made, dude. You know what I mean?
But
pollution comes from.
What if we all practice altruism? Are we able to keep Mother Nature, Earth preserved like the rice was preserved?
Well, you have to love the earth. You know what I mean? Regardless, you know what I mean? That's why every time you see, when you go to the movies or you go somewhere and you see this the heliocentric model, and everybody says, "Oh, how beautiful!" You know what I mean? Because they love what they live on. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the debate is so big. The debate I always get into, whether it's the flat or the heliocentric model, Um, regardless, people love Mother Earth. You know what I'm saying? They call it Mother Earth. You know what I mean? Because
you think everyone loves Earth?
most of the people who do, the people who don't, I think, are more into scientism. You know what I mean? Like they don't believe in a creator. You know what I'm saying? So I think the people who do believe in a creator, they love to see the beautiful ocean. They love to see the beautiful forest. They love to be in the mountains when it's snowing and how beautiful it is, and the nature. You know what I mean? The deer's running around, dude. You know, the streams running free. You know, the rivers running free. How beautiful it looks. You know what I mean? So I think that um, if a lot of people went over into that and believed in that, I think that there would be I think people would the earth would be a happier place. I know what we'll get into as far as my. I know you want to know my opinion on that, but I'll get into it in a little bit, dude. As far as global warming or whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay, so I didn't get an answer from you though when I asked if everyone practiced altruism. Do you think there'd be an improvement in the earth as far as pollution goes? People are saying the waters are contaminated. If everyone practiced altruism, would they be able to preserve the earth like the rice was preserved in your example?
I think that yeah, in a way, if everybody came together and everybody worked on that, yeah, they would that the earth would be more preserved, and you do know that you could take everybody in the world across the world, and we talked about this before, and the state of Texas is big enough for everybody across the world. Everybody could have like a quarter of an acre in Texas. That's how big Texas is. So that's why I said the global warming thing is. Um, let's let's go back a little bit to your original question there, to your last question, so I can add to it. Um, say it to me one more time, and then I can add to it a little bit more.
Okay, I asked. I wanted to know your answer to, because you gave me an example on the rice, right?
Yeah.
And they practice love and altruism to one bowl of rice. They neglected another bowl of rice, and they talked down and were negative with another bowl of rice. And you said the results with the loved rice was it was preserved, it was ready to eat, looked really good. The one that was neglected didn't really do much to it. The one that was talked down on and that was negative with, it was changed colors, was not edible at all. It looked really gross to you. So I asked you, if everyone in the world practiced altruism, would the earth be preserved? Would there be less pollution in the earth? Would there be less contamination in the ocean?
Yeah, that's why
everything that they say about global warming.
Took it back there, dude.
Everything that they say about global warming. If we all practice altruism, would the earth be preserved like that good bowl of rice that was shown love and altruism?
Yeah, definitely, man. If everybody could come together and and wake up every day and say how much they love the earth. You got to remember our ancestors. They prayed to the sun and the moon. I don't like to say that because it's bad now. You know what I mean? It's connected to some other worldly things. But our ancestors prayed to the sun, the moon, the grass, the ground. You know what I mean? So you got to remember, back then they did do. They lived by that. They lived by that. They woke up and they loved. They were grateful for the earth. They were grateful for the sun. They were grateful that they had rain so they could so they could grow their grow their crops. You know
Just
what I
like how the rice was treated. I wonder how the earth was back then in those days. We'll never know unless we were there. I wonder if the earth was had a better smell to it. Could breathe better even. That really sparks my curiosity muscles on how the earth was in those days, man.
One thing
what do you think about it?
One thing I could tell you, maybe 2 generations ago, maybe even a generation ago, from me, 2 generations for you, maybe one or 2 generations for me. We do know that talking to our elders, that the food was way much better.
That's what I heard. The
food was awesome.
Was better.
The water you could drink waters from the river. You could drink waters from the lake. You can't do that no more.
No.
You have to boil it. You have to use reverse osmosis, like I talk to you about all the time. There's a lot of things you have to do. So back then, all they did was love what they were given. This book alone right here tells you that Jesus has given us enough to. We don't need all this technology and stuff. We were already given enough for shelter, food, everything we needed to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We didn't need all this other stuff. This other stuff, this other man-made stuff, wasn't even supposed to be given to us, but we ended up with it, so we have to deal with it now. We have to suffer the consequences for our predecessors. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, we got a comment from Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in, Jeremy, and thanks for interacting with us and leaving down some comments for us. Jeremy said Texas has 163 million acres. The world population is 7-something billion. I don't think we can all live on a quarter acre each in Texas, but imagine the air and pollution and CO2 levels with all those people in one space would be crazy. Yeah, wow, you have a good point, Jeremy. Thanks for commenting and interacting with us.
Yeah,
that's some good facts.
It's a great comment, and I appreciate the comment. But the way I was presenting it was that to live almost like indigenous people, to where there wasn't no technology, there wasn't cars. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I presented it. To where if you show love, you know what I'm saying? You got to think of even the size of Colorado. Do you know how much land is here in Colorado?
I don't have that number.
It's humongous, man. It's humongous, dude. So even if you took everybody in the world and you moved into America, everybody would fit here, and there would be extra room. You know what I mean? But that gets into another conversation. That gets into mass population. Because we talked about depopulation. We talked about the Georgia Guidestones. You know what I'm saying? And they wanted at 500 million people or something like that, dude. So I'll put a link in the description too about the Georgia Guidestones if you've never came across the Georgia Guidestones. But that's another podcast that we do. But going back to this here, I've talked to Dapper Mike, and I said, man, I think I was born in the wrong era. I think that I should have been born in the cowboy days. You know what I mean? Because I think I would have been a better fit in the cowboy days. I really do.
That actually, now that you bring that up, that really sparks up my curiosity. I wonder if there was a time where everyone in the world practiced altruism, or if it has always been this way, where there's a bunch of corrupt people. A good example, like the poorest country in the world, who's been getting taken over and taking advantage of their people. They have the most valuable resource in today's generation, which is starts with the C. I think they call it cobalt. It's what they use the cell phones. It's what they use for cell phones. But yeah, DRC is the main producer of that. But anyways, I wonder if there was a time where everyone practiced altruism and there was no corrupt people at all. What do you think, Ike? Or do you think in every age
I think that there's always been, because you can go back to the Bible days and the reason why the flood happened is because of that situation. So you know, they had to clear out all the bad people in the world. You know what I mean?
So you don't think there was a time where ever at all where every single person in the world practiced altruism?
I don't think there ever was, man. The only thing I could say is the indigenous people. I think they are the only ones that practice it because they love everything that they do. Like I was showing you the video earlier, how they were making the underground little houses and with the swimming pools and everything.
Yeah.
You know, with their bare hands. You know,
really
with
incredible stuff.
Primitive tools.
You guys got to see that video. Ike will share that in the description as well.
Yeah. I mean,
these people from third world countries making some incredible stuff.
We're talking about like mini mansions. That's how beautiful these things are. These houses that they're making. You know, some are underground, some are above ground. Beautiful swimming pools, and with, like I said, primitive tools. Like they have maybe like a pick and a basket to carry the dirt out, and that's all. And they use their hands, and that's all they use. And
that's phenomenal.
They get the work done in like a day or two. So I think that they actually show the love that's needed when
that's phenomenal.
What you're saying is when loving the earth and loving everything, I think that they're the only ones that actually subscribe to it, man. That actually do that, man.
There's some contractors who can't even finish the job.
I know
they're all over the news for not finishing the job, man. And people in third world countries are building mini mansions
in a day.
That's crazy.
That's
incredible.
I was thinking about that. I'm saying it takes sometimes a year or two for them to build a mansion or a nice house or whatever. And you got don't do that. It's a knocker. But anyway, they build these in like one day. These mini mansions, man. It takes one day, dude.
That's incredible.
And then the next day they're swimming, in their little swimming pool that they build. You know what I mean? The one I watched yesterday, they actually built a hot tub, dude, on top of they built a house around the hot tub, and they built a hot tub with all they did was have to put fire underneath it, dude. That's how smart these guys are, dude.
Wow. And you think you have a theory that they practice altruism to get these incredible houses completed?
That's the only way they could do it, man. They have to love, dude. They have to love because I'm not that talented. You know what I'm saying? I love, but I'm not that talented.
Yeah,
you have to have a passion and you have to love to be able to do that, dude. You really do. You really do. There's no other way around it, dude.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of contractors out here. I just seen one today on the news for not finishing the job, and he has multiple projects with that same complaint with the Better Business Bureau. And these guys in third world countries with less material, less resources as here in the United States, a developed country, not even finishing the job. It's crazy, incredible. We'll share that in the link, the description.
Yeah, I'll make sure to put everything, everyone that I got. I'll make sure to put in the description for everybody so you can check it out. That way you can see what I'm talking about, because I think you'll be really interested in what we mean. Because even our government is moving towards these mini houses, like we talked about Texas, and our government. If you've seen some of these houses, like in Portland and Seattle, the houses are about the size of this room right here.
Really? Yeah. I actually, now that you mentioned that, I seen a documentary. A friend was watching today on TV and saying how millennials are now transitioning into like mobile homes nowadays. That's a trend. They're having contractors build them mobile homes with that modern look.
Yeah. All around flat.
That seems like the trend is these smaller homes. Now that you bring that up, we're getting way off topic here.
Yeah. all around flat. I know me and you have talked about this, that they could drive from Washington. They could drive from Washington to Colorado underneath the ground through the Walmarts. All Around Flat's mentioning that in the comment right now. Thank you, All Around Flat. And that's why roads still suck. We were talking about that the other day too. Remember, we were driving down the street and they were taking money away from the roads or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's a different topic.
Yeah.
We want to stay on the altruism and global warming topic. Sorry, we're getting a little off topic, guys.
Yeah.
But my next question is, have you ever seen in your lifetime, or have you conducted your own experiment on altruism and the results of altruism, or you just seen videos of it on TED Talks and just read material on altruism? You never really experienced?
Actually, I did a podcast on The Secret. I think number 7 or 8. You can go back to some of my videos, and actually, that's what the secret is. You know, it's sending good intentions out into the universe. And so I lived, before I found out really what the secret consisted of. I still think there's still good things in the secret. I just I steered away from it because of the when I found out what it was really about. But it's the same thing. You have to have good intention. You have to send out good vibes into the universe. You have to send out good emotions. And I still live like that. I still, every day of my life, I send out good things. Like when I, about my, especially with my kids and my family and my friends, I send out love to the universe. I send out prayers to the universe for them so that they're happy and content in their life, and they can move forward, and they do the right things and do positive things that, you know what I mean, so that they have positive results in their life. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm asking you if you actually witnessed results of altruism with your own experiment.
Yeah, All Around Flat. The rice experiment. That was the first thing we talked about. He's asking about the rice experiments. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was the first thing we talked about right now. Was the rice experiment. So thanks for bringing that up. All Around Flat. You're awesome. That was the first story. Well, it was actually the second story I told, because I told him about the other story about the 2 guys with the $20,000 that got 30 days to spend it. And one did the right thing and one did the wrong thing.
Yeah, but now we want to see Ike's example in his lifetime, his own example. I'm really interested in knowing your own example, your own results that you've seen with your own 2 eyes that you conducted. Do you have anything, or?
Yeah, I've been a part of the music business for a long time, and I've actually helped a lot of artists. I've actually helped thousands of artists, and I don't want to say this to sound big-headed, but I've helped artists in Texas, Chicago, Colorado, all over the place. And I've actually seen artists, at least 10% of those artists do good and return it to other artists. And that's what you want to see. You know what I mean? So these hip hop artists, I've seen them do good and return it to other. All Around Flat. We ended up starting, and that was like the first thing I said. But the second thing I want to say is, you asked me about if I've done. I've coached for 20 years.
Right.
I've coached thousands of kids.
Yeah, I want to hear your own experiments that you conducted with altruism and the results of that. I'm really interested in knowing that.
And my thing was always setting a positive example for all these kids. And my whole time coaching was to get these kids to graduate and get to college. And I got hundreds and hundreds of kids to graduate and get to college. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I feel really, I think that's one of the reasons I ended up getting an associate's degree, is because I committed so much time into coaching for so long. You know what I mean? I'm still a coach. I just haven't coached for a couple years. I'm going to get back into coaching. That's one of my things. And And I feel grateful that I had the opportunity to go ahead and coach. You know what I'm saying? To go ahead and coach for that many years, for for so long, and I coached some really good players and some really intelligent players and some really smart players. This last year, the graduating class from CU Boulder and the graduating class from CSU Boulder, I probably had 50 kids in each class. So that's one thing I could say, and I'm not trying to be big headed about it. I just presenting something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, those are incredible results. People getting degrees, including yourself. Those are incredible results of altruism.
Yeah, and
all we see is positive results. So why can't everyone in the world practice this? What's up? And you say it's not anything to do with health disabilities, with mental disabilities. It's just
I just don't want to bring mental disabilities into it because
I'm just really interested in why everyone in the world cannot practice altruism when we have these positive results. Your examples of people getting degrees, people getting educated, that's a positive thing. But rights being preserved. Also, our theory of the pollution being slowed down.
Yeah, the reason I don't want to get into people with mental disabilities is because
it's not about mental disabilities. No, it's just about, I want to know. I'm really interested in knowing why. Well, like what
Twitter
prevents someone from practicing?
YouTube, Facebook. They're attacking people with mental disabilities. They don't think that they should be on the air. From my understanding, that's why I didn't want to bring that conversation up. But I just wanted to let everybody know why I didn't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? But that's one thing that they're doing. They're in a court battle right now over that.
Yeah. I'm not too big on that. I'm just wondering, like, why everyone doesn't practice it. What prevents them? The only thing, there's a few things I can think of. But with these results, I just wish everyone would practice it. With third world countries like the DRC, the poorest country in the world, they have the most valuable resource, I think, right now. The resource that makes our cell phones today, my $1,000 phone that I have in my hand right now. And they're not getting any profits from it.
I know what you're saying on this because we've had this conversation, but All Around Flat just posted a great comment, dude. He says that kids that are in school and they start out with A's at the beginning of the year and end up with vice versa with F's at the end of the year. And he says it's because of the way they were treated by their teachers or whoever was, ahead of the class or whatever, you know what I mean? So he posted it twice, kids that had F's turn the F's into A's because the way they were treated. And that I do remember seeing a bunch of that when I was in school. You know what I mean? There was stuff like that going on.
So what prevented the teachers from practicing altruism if they get good results like that?
Well, back then, I'm gonna really say it boiled down to their pay. They're now I know they got pretty good pay. The cost of living here in Colorado.
Hey, that's another good topic. Why aren't people getting paid fairly for what they do?
Well,
why do they have to do 3 jobs to live in Colorado and other places? That tells me that the government, even in a developed country like the U.S., doesn't practice altruism. I think a well-developed country like the United States should practice altruism all around, where people shouldn't have to work 3 jobs. Or when I'm driving down the street, I see someone sleeping on the bench. It's like 20 degrees outside.
Well, I'll get into it a little bit, and I'll tell you that I don't subscribe to music no more very much, and if I do, it's very little. I don't subscribe to TV unless it's old westerns. You know what I mean? And it's because it teaches people how to be greedy. It teaches people bad things, man. there's shows out there that break up relationships. You know what I mean?
How are people making a stupid song, in my opinion, stupid songs, and making millions and millions? And there's, for example, like we said, teachers having to work 3 jobs to make ends meet, to pay rent, to pay mortgage, to provide for their kids, or even homeless people who are just doing regular jobs and can't afford to live in a place like here, Colorado, and people just make a stupid song and they're making millions. And I just don't think it's fair. I think everyone should be practicing altruism, and there should be a way that wealth is shared.
Yeah. See, that's a touchy conversation because they want to go into universal income. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, see, all around flat. I think it gets into your subconscious of what I was saying about the TV shows.
Yeah,
I think that it really gets into your subconscious, and it really makes people people think they have to live at a certain level. They have to have the nice chain. They have to have the nice clothes. They have to have the nice car. They have to have the the nice house.
Yeah, these people are spending $500,000 on a vehicle, and I know people who are living on Social Security who can't afford to buy their medication for their type 1 diabetes. That's unfair.
Yeah.
If everyone practiced altruism, we wouldn't have that problem. It just makes me really upset, and I really wish I knew the answer to everyone practicing altruism and what prevents someone from practicing altruism.
I think that the newer generation, the millennial generation, like when I was coming up, I think that we were more, like I told you, I didn't force religion on my kids, but when I was growing up, religion was forced on us, and we kind of lived by the Bible. You know what I mean? The Bible has some strict laws to it. You know what I mean? Things you have to follow. You know what I mean? And I think people were more adapted to living a more grateful life, being more grateful for the things that were offered in their life than they are now, because they don't have that reinforcement of the Bible anymore. You know what I mean? It's not in school no more. Like when I was a kid, we were still praying in school. When I was in elementary school, when I got in junior high, it was pretty much gone. But when I was in elementary school, we were still able to pray. There was a lot of things going on, but
there were still people struggling back then, though. Still same thing. Just like we said, you said your theory is that there was no race, no generation in the world where everyone practiced altruism. Even with what you just said, there were still corrupt people. There were still bad people who didn't practice altruism. So I really wish I had an answer, like I said, to everyone practicing altruism. I mean, we've seen those 3 great examples you gave earlier in the podcast with the rice, with the houses, with everything that you touched on with the positive results.
I haven't said the Pledge of Allegiance since I was a kid, but did they take God out of the Pledge of Allegiance?
I don't. I haven't been in elementary school in a while. Well, I remember doing it in elementary school.
I know when I was in elementary school, we said I pledge allegiance to, and we said God in there.
Yeah, I don't know the policy on that, but I know even with religion, there's been different religions from the beginning of time, and they've been fighting over religion forever. I think religion is a big, that's actually might be an answer, is religion. Because there's been wars over religion since the beginning of time. I read history books on that, where people are fighting over religion. I have friends who experienced and seen it for themselves in different countries where it was a religion fight war, where they just fought Christians versus Muslims.
Yeah, that's a deep conversation right there.
Yeah, I'm not getting into that subject, but I'm just saying that could be an answer. Is religion is preventing people from practicing altruism.
Wow. I guess they took out the whole line with God in it in the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't slam that. Yeah, they took out the whole line. I'm gonna have to look into that. I thank you all around flat. I did not know that. Yeah, we are in a battle with a spiritual battle with principalities and stuff like that. I know the verse. I just can't think of what it is right now. We're not in a battle against flesh and blood exactly, but against unseen spiritual things. You know what I mean? There's a big battle going on, dude.
Yeah,
and we know that. We know that. So when you know that you're in that situation, it's hard to use that every day in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we might have found one of the big answers though is religion is preventing a lot of people from practicing altruism there, because there's been fights ever since the beginning of time with religion.
That's why. That's the first thing I said about was altruism was the Bible stuff. You know what I mean? I brought it up right away because.
And now I came to the realization that there's been fights over religion for ages. If you look in the history books, and I have friends who experienced it firsthand in those third world countries, and I've seen recently in the news China blowing up one of the biggest churches in their country. It's really sad. There was a shooting in a church recently, about a month ago. Did you hear about that?
It was like last week, wasn't it? I know I saw parts of it on like little news clips or something when I got on the internet, but
yeah, you know what I'm talking about? The dude ran in the church.
Yeah. It was last week, I think, or a couple weeks ago.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
So I think religion is a big factor there, and I've been doing research on altruism, and I really didn't look into that religion stuff. People don't really take that to mind, and I think they should take that to mind when trying to find out the root cause of why people do not practice altruism. It's very sad. What are you gonna do? You know, you can't change someone's religion. I think, in my own opinion, you can't take away someone's religion. I have my own religion. I'm trying not to get too much into religion because, like me and you said, it's a touchy subject. It's a sensitive topic, and I understand why it is. I get really upset when people talk down on other people's religion.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's a podcast, but it's a whole different. It's one of those ones you have to go into for 3-4 hours. You know.
It's a really touchy subject. I don't like talking down on other people's religion, and I don't want to say my religion. I don't want to sound too cliche. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to sound like I'm for my own religion. You know what I mean? I want to be friendly to all our viewers, and I respect all religions.
Yeah, I know people get real upset about that, but all I can say is I ask for the full armor of God through Jesus and through Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's one thing I'm gonna say though, regardless. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say that. So
yeah, I think
even if I get a little people upset about it, I'm still saying that part at least. You know
what I just said though, I think that's why we aren't able to cure altruism, because you can't take someone's religion away. You know what I mean? And the only way you can do it is by really, really, really horrible actions like what we just talked about, like China blowing up one of the biggest churches, the guy running in the church and murdering people. That's horrid. That's, oh my gosh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's why it's just really sad, Ike. And I don't think we can really cure altruism, because that's one of the biggest factors in curing altruism. and you just can't take someone's religion away, someone's beliefs.
I'm gonna, it's a good point here. If you actually have truth, then you are obligated to tell everyone, and that's one of the reasons I went ahead and started doing live vocal podcasts where, the jam is mostly music. You know what I mean? So I do these ones because I believe that the stuff that I talk about is truth, and I want to get it out there. You know what I mean? Just like what we're talking about right here. This is truth, and we have to get it out there. Just like how I said, I asked for the full armor of God through Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? That's the truth. That's that I ask for that every day. You know what I mean? But I know it's gonna make some people upset. But I'm getting that out off because of me, because that's what I believe. You know what I mean?
Right. And if someone else says, they speak their religion, you have to respect that. You can't take that away from them, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's deep.
So I think that's why you can't really cure altruism. I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. But yeah, man, I can't believe I just came to that realization. It was sitting right there in front of me the whole time, and I've been studying it for 3 weeks. And I really didn't come to that realization until right now. I was looking in the global warming. I was looking to other topics of what prevented someone from practicing altruism, and no one ever said about the religion topic, and I really think that's a big factor. If any viewers want to give their insight on why someone can't practice altruism, you are welcome to say. We are open to new ideas. That's why we do this podcast, because we love you guys and we want to hear different insights. And we would love to be educated on that.
Yeah, be on the lookout for tomorrow. All Around Flat's going to be on live with me. Hopefully we can get it done tomorrow. We talked about it earlier.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again, All Around Flats, for commenting.
Yeah, he put a lot of comments in,
interacting with us, and thanks for coming on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, he's put a lot of comments down. I didn't get to read all of them, but I got some of the main ones that he did.
Hey, Chris Hernandez dropped a like. Thank you, Chris, for dropping a like and tuning in. Make sure to leave another comment. Listen to the podcast. I wish you would have watched it from the beginning. We had some awesome stuff, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in again, Chris.
I think we can do some global warming stuff real quick before we end this one. You know what I mean? This is a pretty good podcast. Because I think we talked. We brought up a lot of stuff here on.
Chris said he has some insight on religion. Yeah, Chris, I just came to the realization because what we've been talking about, Chris, is why everyone cannot practice altruism. And I've been studying it for about a month now, and I never came to the realization that religion is a big factor in everyone not practicing altruism. But yeah, we would love to hear your insight on religion, Chris, on how it relates to altruism without offending anyone.
Yeah. All Around Flat makes a good point here. He says that his thoughts is it's way harder to be nice than to be a jerk. You know what I mean? And that makes a little bit of sense, because people are sometimes naturally a jerk. You know what I mean? It's just their natural, the way they were raised a lot of times, man.
I'll tell you my opinion on it. I don't feel good when I'm rude to someone.
No, he's not saying that. It's
actually hard for me to be a jerk to someone. It really is. Even when someone's rude to me, I try to say something positive to them when they're being mean to me, when they're being rude. Just like a good example was tonight when we're at Wendy's. The chick at Wendy's was being mean to me.
Yeah.
she refused to serve us, and I think that should be a lawsuit. I don't know why she refused to serve us. I told her I would give her $1,000 for a cheeseburger. I really wanted a cheeseburger tonight. I swear on this book, brother. You see me. I said, I'll give you $1,000. Please serve me. I'll give you $1,000 for a cheeseburger.
Did you say globe earlier?
Globe?
Yeah. Did you say globe?
No, I did not.
I didn't say globe. I say across our flat plane.
But yeah, that chick was being. She refused to serve me, and I still offered her $1,000 for a $2 cheeseburger. It's really hard for me to be mean. I guess for some people, it's easy to be mean.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you mean all around flat, because I said global warming, so I should have said flat Earth. Flat Earth.
But yeah, well, since you brought up that comment though, Ike, is it easier for you to be nice, or is it easier for you to be mean to someone?
I'm a really nice, outgoing person.
Well, I'm just asking you, what's easier for you to do? To be nice, or is it easier to be mean? Like your flat earther said.
I try to be a cool person to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody I meet, I try to be really cool, even if they're not.
But I'm asking you, what's easier for you to do?
It's easier for me to be a cool person to people. You know what I'm saying?
But for some people, I guess it's easier to be mean, and I wonder why.
I know I said global warming. I don't recall myself being rude to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I am. Maybe I have been, but
I just really want to know why, for some people, now that he brought it up, why it's easier for them to be mean than nice, because it's really hard for me to be mean.
He did say you're an exception to the rule about being nicer to people than being a jerk, is what I think I'm understanding there.
Well, now that he brought it up, it's got me really curious on why it's easier for people to be mean than nice, because it's really hard for me to be mean.
Yeah.
When I meet someone, I'm nice to everyone. Like I said, I respect all people. I respect all religions. Might not agree with them, but I respect, and I'm nice to everyone, and I practice altruism with everyone, and I've seen positive results similar to what we talked about in the beginning of the podcast.
So, getting into, I need some water and pop, dude. I'm losing my voice there for a second. It's just easier for.
But yeah, Chris, thanks again, brother. We would love for you to drop your insight on that religion, man.
Yeah, go ahead and chopping it up.
Give us some better topics. Give us some more insight, maybe some more realizations I can come up with. But yeah, it's been a great podcast so far. What do you think, Ike?
It's going awesome, man. I just needed something to drink, man. Some pop of water.
Yes, I can't believe I just came to this realization in this interview. It's phenomenal, really.
I started losing my voice right now, dude.
It's crazy when you start researching a topic and you just keep finding more and more, and it kind of leads off into something else, and it kind of gets off topic a little bit. But it's crazy how much you find when you do a little bit of research. I'm blessed to be in this age where it's easier to find information than it is back in the early days. So I'm grateful that I'm here, and grateful that I'm able to interact with everyone on our podcast. And Chris just dropped a comment about religion and how it relates to altruism. Let's read it. He says, I think religion is very important because it teaches altruism in a sense. I myself am not religious at all, but that doesn't stop me from caring from others. But whether I believe in religion, I had to drop down the comment, so excuse me, or not, I believe it's very important for humanity. If we don't have religion, I believe there would be a lot more chaos in the world because people wouldn't feel guilty or scared or afterlife consequences. But Chris, since the beginning of time, religions have been fighting against each other. Whether it's Christians versus Muslims, this is a good example. And I don't like saying the religions, but I have to speak the truth. I have to speak the examples. What's another good example? Like Christians calling Mormonism cults,
Yeah, let's not. So we can't say nothing like that because we'll get an algorithm. We'll get a strike, dude.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying the truth. What happened in history?
Yeah, that's the truth.
I'm not talking down on religion, so we shouldn't get a strike. I'm just saying what happened in history.
Yeah, they'll still give us a strike for that, dude. They're striking for all kinds of stuff right now.
Yeah.
But all around flat, he does bring up another good thing here. He says that I know Chris he's saying some good stuff over there. He's saying that for him it's easier. It takes more effort to be kind to his brothers. You know what I mean? Agreeing with Chris.
But why though? I want to know why.
I don't remember. I'd have to see that, dude. Let me see it real quick.
See what?
Let me see what he said.
I can read it back to you.
Just read that. No, it's good. I remember.
Okay, so yeah, what do you think about what Chris said? What do you think about my response to Chris? I said people have been fighting wars over religions for ages.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time.
So that's a big factor in people not practicing altruism because different religions.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to do with many things, man. One place you could look towards is the Tower of Babel, man. So, but I didn't want to get more into religious, but I just wanted to mention that real quick.
I understand. I'm gonna transition here into countries. I think we shouldn't be segregated in countries. I know you're against this, but I would like to see the world come together and said United States, Canada. Why can't we all be one big country where we're all happy? Why can't all countries be developed like the United States? I mean, we see DRC, they're millionaires, dude. They're millionaires, but they're living in third world. They're the poorest country in the world. We can all be a developed country and all be one and all practice altruism. There's resources in these third world countries.
Yeah, you have a great point there. If everybody came together, because there's already 47 countries in the UN or something like that. But what you're saying is, it's kind of like saying the one world order. You know what I mean? Like I told a friend.
Like I said, I know you're against it, but I actually would like to see everyone coming together, and I don't like to see countries struggling. You know, I live in the United States, and I hate to hear about the DRC. I hated reading about it. It made me want to go out there and do something about it.
Yeah.
Help in whatever way I can. It's just disgusting to see people are being used and people are thriving where they're having more than enough.
No, I would like to see like the world all come together and be happy. But from the guidance, like they talked about the New World Order. We've been living in the New World Order, but what they want is the One World Order. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it gets really shaky right there when you start talking about that. So it's, that's why I steer away from.
And people, for you example, a lot of people see the world coming together as a negative thing. I see it as a positive thing. What if it wasn't used like how people are theorizing it to be? Where it
would be nice if it was positive,
yeah. But what if it's actually a positive thing where third world countries aren't using their people to produce wealth for just a certain amount of people? What if everyone came together and everything was shared, and like you gave examples with the rice and everything else you said earlier in the podcast, everything was loved and everything was shared and everyone was thriving, not just a group of people, or should I say a group of elites are thriving, and people are working hard and producing this wealth for these people, and they don't have anything. They barely have a 100 square foot house. Some people are sleeping on the bench in the United States and Colorado in a developed country. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I was all around flat. He says that he's not of this world. That's why my book title is The Universe According to Ike, All Around Flat. The Universe According to Ike. I know there's no universe, but it was originally called The World According to Ike, but then I changed it to The Universe According to Ike. But yeah, that takes us back to where I said you could take everybody in the world and put them in the state of Texas, and there'd be room for people to live. You know what I mean? Like there shouldn't be nobody sleeping on benches. There shouldn't be nobody homeless. Nobody should be going through that, especially here in America. You know what I mean?
Why are there a certain group of people who have just insane amount of wealth that they don't even need? They're spending it on pointless stuff. $500,000 cars, like a 5,000 square foot home. What do they need that square footage for?
I bet no space, no space all around.
Did you know Netflix didn't pay 1 cent in state or income taxes last year in 2018?
A lot of businesses don't, though, dude. A lot of because they reported so much of the loss, they didn't have to pay any taxes because they pay out so much money for all these shows and all these comedy specials and all these movies that they're putting on.
Yeah.
So they deduct it, you know what I mean? So they didn't have to pay taxes.
And I believe they made around $80-something million. Why can't even $1 million would help out a great amount of people in the United States who are living on benches? Even $1 million donated.
There's 50 states, right?
Out of 85, $82 million. What is that? You know what I mean? Something has to change. But Chris gave us about 4 long comments. Thank you so much, Chris. Let's read them. Let's go back to the top.
Just watch the algorithms, dude.
I just feel humanity needs something to believe, something to look forward to, or else people would be careless or depressed if they didn't see a point to life. Even though religion has caused a lot of violence, its ultimate goal is to teach unity, but the fact that there's a lot of religions and they have fought with each other has some irony to it, because all religions teach unity and peace. What do you guys believe about afterlife? That's kind of getting off topic, but
that's another podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of getting off topic, but we'll touch briefly on that for about 2 minutes, a minute each, minute for me, a minute for Ike. That really sparks up my curiosity muscles, because my theory on the afterlife, I believe, is some people get reincarnated and some people go to heaven, I believe, and some people go to hell, like the Holy Bible says in Christian religion. I believe reincarnation is hell, because I think this world is, what I mean. I'm trying not to get too deep into it, but your minute, Ike.
All I can say is one thing. I don't believe in reincarnation, but I was an alligator in one of my lives, and I've told you that before. I really don't believe in reincarnation, but I do remember other lives, for some odd reason. Maybe I just dream about them or something, but I don't believe in reincarnation because...
You don't believe in reincarnation, but you said you were an alligator in a previous life?
But like I said, what if they were just dreams to me? You know what I'm saying? What if they were just dreams? You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at those.
So what is your belief on afterlife, though? He's asking.
Either
touch on it briefly.
Either you go up or you go down.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say it just like that. If you're good, you go up. If you're bad, you go to the lake of fire. The lake of fire awaits for those with no souls.
Awesome way to put it, Ike. It was a better way. You put it in a better way than me. That was an awesome way to put it. I try not to get too deep into that. Thank you so much, Chris, for that question. That was an awesome question, brother. But we're touching down really on altruism. We really didn't get into global warming like I wanted to, because I came to that great realization about religion. I'm glad I was able to come to that realization. And again, thank you so much. I forget your friend's name. I'm so sorry. What's his name? I know it's
all around.
All around. Thank you so much. All around. Thank you so much, Chris.
But here's one good thing he does mention, man, and Trump's actually on NASA, but NASA receives $52 million in tax money per day, right?
Yeah.
If you take 1 day away from him, he's right. You take 1 day away from him, you could still feed everybody in America.
Exactly. There's resources all over the world,
just
and
1 day.
There's more people struggling than more people thriving.
But NASA makes these.
There's only a small amount of elite people, and they have
these fake,
insane amount of wealth that they don't even need.
They make these fake planet Earths and stuff like that, and all this cartoon images. But he's right. If they would take $52 million day away, you could feed everybody in America.
Even just from Netflix profits, you can feed everyone in America, and they'd still be thriving. They'd still have about $60 million in the bank.
Yeah, all around flat. That's true.
And don't get me wrong. I know it takes a lot of money to run a business, everyone's salary, different things with the business. But there's still a lot you can do to help people. It's just crazy how I pay more state and income taxes than someone who makes $85 million.
$85 million is quite a bit of money, man. It's called the 1%, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the 1%, dude. The 1%. If you're not in the 1%, you're.
What's preventing these 1%ers from helping everyone? Well, actually, I do see a good amount of people donating. Actually, I've seen it recently.
It's part of their they call themselves philanthropists. They're really not philanthropists, but they call themselves philanthropists because they donate. You know what I mean? But really, it goes to most of the time it goes to their own charities. I really don't want to say too much about that, but I know for a fact that it kind of goes to their own charities.
So, I kind of believe that because I still see a lot of people struggling, and I still see people not being able to afford health care that they need. So I believe you on that. Hey, Irvin said hi. Hi, Irvin.
Irvin, what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
Thanks for tuning in, Irvin. Thanks for saying hi. But let's transition into this global warming thing.
I know all around flat got a lot of stuff to say on the global warming.
So yeah, one interesting thing that I found, Ike, on global warming that I didn't know about, because I know all the mainstream stuff about global warming. But one interesting thing I seen is that people have done studies and seen that pollution and global warming has caused people to get diseases like diabetes, cancer. I don't doubt that, but one thing that stood out to me was diabetes. I thought diabetes was either hereditary or lifestyle. Did you know about pollution causing people to have diabetes?
Well, I do know that aluminum, strontium, and barium causes it too, and that's part of pollution. And they're making that pollution, but that's part of the global warming topic is what they're calling them is contrails, but they're actually called chemtrails. And you can go to Harvard. I talked to you about this before. Harvard 2000 Solar Show 2017. They admit that their chemtrails are real. You know what I mean? There's no denying it anymore. It's a fact. It's out, and we have to deal with it.
So
that's what he says right there. I think that chemtrails are weakening our immune system, and it's true.
Yeah. with the new technology they're coming out with, a good example is the 5G towers. You think 5G with this new technology coming in is going to be a big factor in contributing to global warming?
The global warming, I don't want to get picked up by the algorithms, but I think that I think we'll have a freeze over before we have.
How's the algorithm? It's mainstream. It's all over world news.
But that's something.
Global warming.
It's a when you talk, it's a conspiracy, dude.
It's not a conspiracy. It's in world news. It's on CNN. It's on all these mainstream sources, dude. There's no algorithms in that.
Yeah, there is.
No, there isn't. It's on CNN. There's nothing wrong with it.
CNN. You heard what Trump said about CNN.
It's on every major. It's on peer-reviewed articles. You're not going to get.
I'll put on 5G. I'll put a link in the description because I watched the Fullerton Informer, and he has so much information. So everybody who listens, I know we get hundreds and 1,000 listeners later. So I'll put a link on 5G from the Fullerton Informer, Joe. He has so much information on 5G. That way you guys could check it out. And then, later on we'll do another podcast. We've been talking 5G for a couple years now, and it's scary and it's coming, and our local representatives don't even know what 5G is. Like we've been to the courthouse, and I sent friends down to the courthouses, and the people at the courthouses didn't even know what it was. I had to take them and show them what the 5G tower was. They put a 5G tower up like 2 blocks away from the courthouse right here by my house. And the judge and the court representative didn't even know what the tower was. Huh. I had to explain it to them.
Wow. That's amazing. I can't believe that. That's really hard to believe. So you don't believe in global warming then, Ike, in your own opinion, right?
It's a farce, man. It's Al Gore is the head of it. He's the one combating it, and he was the one that Bush beat out for president, which everybody have said Al Gore won, but they said, well, basically they gave him became the head of fighting global warming, and Bush became the president. So basically, Bush got what he wanted, and Al Gore got quadrillions of dollars, billions of dollars. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you believe 5G is really bad, though?
Yeah.
But 5G, why do you think 5G is bad? Just touch briefly on it. You don't have to go too much into it, but why do you think it's bad? Just give real brief comments on that.
Because it's microwave energy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and it's.
Don't you think that relates to global warming, though?
Yeah, but see, most people who believe in that they're from academia. They're from academics. You know what I'm saying?
About how many people live on the planet?
7 trillion, right? Was it 7 trillion?
Just about. It doesn't have to be exact. Just about. Just a guess.
I think it's 7 trillion people.
You really think 7 trillion people?
I think that's what it is.
Living on the earth, doing what you do every single day, every single minute, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's really no global warming. These people burning off material like this plastic. You really think there's no global warming with all these people?
The Earth is so big, dude. It's not. There's not, dude. There's not. 7.5 billion people on the Earth. I thought it was trillion. I could be wrong. I'm kind of tired right now.
That's a lot of people, right? 7.5 billion. And they're all burning off material, this bad material, all this plastic.
I couldn't do a screen share, but I did. The Fullerton Informer did I talked to you about the 19-year-old beauty queen who died skiing. All around said that 5G heats your body, right? And the girl who died, she had a heart attack. She's only 19 years old. And she had battery powered heaters like this stuff. Like this is for snow.
Yeah.
But it was battery powered.
So you really don't think it really relates to global warming, the 5G? To me, that really relates to global warming because it's putting out
microwavable energy.
It's putting out an energy, like pollution.
But the Earth is too big, dude. For it's a farce, dude. Like it's.
But look
it's
at the amount of people on the Earth.
It's so
burning all kinds of chemicals
so
all
centralized,
over. Like what's in the ocean right now?
The big cities, oil that they spilled all over for one. But the big cities, the pollution is really centralized because it's from the emissions, the cars running it all off. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you get out into the open, and you get out into the wide open, and when you get into parts of Phoenix where it's miles and miles of open air, there's no pollution. You get to Texas and there's miles and miles of I don't know if you've been there. I've been there. It's you drive it seems like you drive for days before you hit any population. There's no pollution. You go to the Congo, there's no pollution. You go to all these places. It's only centralized in these cities. When you get to these big Denver, when you get to California, Los Angeles, when you get to Chicago, that's where all the pollution's at, dude.
So you do kind of believe in global warming then, just in certain areas?
Not the fact that it's global warming, but it's
just like a country warming then, I guess.
Just a state, parts of states. You know what I mean? Because
So you kind of believe in it a little bit, just very little. Not enough to affect the entire planet.
I say that we will have an ice age before we have a global warming event, before the ice polars mount. That we'll have an ice age before. You gotta remember, on my version of the map is we're surrounded by the Arctic wall. So I think we're closer to an ice age than we are going through global warming, man, in my opinion. Because we're covered. We're surrounded, dude. We're surrounded by an ice wall. In my opinion, you know what I mean. It's just my opinion. You know what I mean. I don't know that to be a fact. You know what I'm saying. But from the looks of it, from the film footage that I've seen, that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying?
So with that study that I found that was mind blowing to me about diabetes connected to pollution. Do you think diabetes is just hereditary and lifestyle, or do you think it has to do with pollution as well?
Diabetes 2 has to do with pollution. Diabetes 1 is hereditary. So diabetes 2 is, we both have a good friend. Something happened to him this last couple weeks. He has diabetes. And I think that's one of the reasons that could have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all we could do is say a prayer. You know what I mean? And I don't want to mention anything on the air. I just brought it up for a sec because we were talking about diabetes a little bit. And I know he takes the medication for diabetes too. You don't have diabetes 1, but diabetes 2.
So you do believe pollution is a factor then in type 2 diabetes then?
Yeah. He says diabetes is from everybody eating McDonald's. All around, we stopped eating McDonald's I stopped 15 years ago. I haven't ate McDonald's in 15 years.
Thank you so much for putting out that comment, because I wonder how many people are in third world countries who do not have McDonald's have type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes.
None.
Huh.
So here's the other thing that he said.
So maybe that is a lie then about the pollution thing.
That's what I'm trying to say. Look at 98.
We have to do the research on that.
98% of the world's population live in big cities. That's what he just wrote here. You know what I'm saying? And they're I always say decompartmentalized, but if I could speak tonight, There's no food at McDonald's. It's true. It's not real food. We were just talking about that.
Yeah,
earlier.
you can tell just by looking at the food, but
yeah, it's
we're
not.
not going into
It's not real.
that topic.
It's not real food.
What's really interesting, I'm glad you brought that up because I want to actually study now how many people get diabetes in those countries who don't have McDonald's, and in the United States who do get diabetes with how we have McDonald's and everything. So
I think
I'm gonna have to do research on that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. We got some more comments here on my end from Chris and Irvin. Irvin says, good stuff. What's up, my brothers? Hey, what's up, Irvin? Thank you again for commenting, interacting with us, watching. Chris says, so do you guys believe the world would be better if we had universal
wealth or
no, egalitarianism? Egalitarianism?
Is he talking about Tartaria?
Read that real quick.
Tartaria?
Read that.
Where's it at?
Right here. Egalitarianism.
It's Tatar. He's talking about Tartaria, but see, if they found out about the flat Earth, and me and all around flat were talking about this yesterday. I think it's all this was
what's
free,
all this?
Free energy.
Okay. What's all this though? People can't see what you're pointing at.
The lights, all this electricity. They have free energy in Tartaria. If there was, Tartaria just came up. I'm still doing a lot of research on Tartaria.
And let us know if we're not talking about the same thing here, if it's not Tartaria. He said if we were all equal financially and healthcare was provided for everyone. That's what he said. That's what he meant.
Hello, Emily. How you doing?
Ike.
Emily Andrada. Is that the right? Andrada? Did I say it right? Emily Andrada.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for tuning in. Chris said, this is what Chris meant. He said, if we were all equal financially and healthcare was provided for everyone. I think that we not necessarily don't have to all be equal financially, but I don't believe people should be sleeping on benches in 0-degree weather, Chris. I think everyone should have at least a small little area to live in where it's well heated and safe for people to live and breathe. And I think affordable healthcare should be everywhere. It doesn't have to be free, but I think it should be affordable because a lot of people can't afford healthcare. It's outrageous, the cost. There's plenty of countries who practice affordable healthcare, and people don't have problems in different countries buying healthcare. What do you think, Ike?
Healthcare is really. Was that what he's talking about? Universal healthcare?
He's talking about everyone. He's talking about a world where everyone's equal financially and everyone has healthcare for free.
Canada, it's free, right? Canada.
It's not free. It's just affordable. I know someone in Canada who broke their leg and they only paid like, I think at the end of the day, like $200 for everything.
Yeah. They like. It would be nice, dude, if
imagine if you broke your leg out here in the United States.
Don't say stuff. Don't talk that out.
No, I'm just saying. Imagine if someone broke their leg and they went to the St. Anthony's. How much would it cost? About.
You get a $5,000 bill.
$5,000 compared to $200.
Yeah. I know for a fact you get a $5,000 bill because we just took Lolita and I got that $700 bill. You remember?
It's outrageous.
I got a $700 bill and I already paid like about $300 of it.
What does the healthcare industry need all that money for?
I don't know what's going on with that stuff, man.
It seems like all the medication in the healthcare industry is not that great for you. You see, take this medication, but the side effects are this, that. And then you look on your medication pill that's not on the commercials that you get for, sick stomach or something. There's like 20 side effects on that. Call a doctor if you're feeling this. You might experience this. You might experience that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to it, all the way up into, you know, to saying goodbye. You know what I'm saying?
So it seems like they're not.
It's
getting
a cartel.
resources.
It's they're the biggest drug dealers in the world, man. That's all I want to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to get too much into it tonight about that, but yeah. But that you can add that to, if there is warming. I don't want to say the other word, but you know, the manufacturing, all that, man. All those manufacturing companies kick up all that dust, and he's saying that 98% of the people in the world live in cities, in major cities, and you have all these industrial companies around it, and then all you have all these cars and transportation. That's what's kicking up all that, what you're talking about. But look at all the free open. You can go to places and there's no pollution at all, dude.
Yeah,
No
so
pollution.
maybe you're right, because you don't hear too many people in third world countries coming up with diabetes.
Anything.
They don't really report
they don't
it.
get cancer. They
The
don't
only
get
thing
nothing.
you hear about over there is like stuff like Ebola that you don't hear about over here in developed countries.
Yeah, that, and like they were catching the mosquito thing.
Yeah, it's mostly from wildlife, because how you catch Ebola was from eating was it monkeys or something? Blood from monkeys?
Yeah, that's
I can't remember
that's what he just put too. That there was a patent for the AIDS virus. You know what I mean? Yeah, they've cured cancer years ago. They don't want to let it out because the money's. You know, you're talking to somebody that's experienced with losing people from cancer. So I know for a fact that cancer has been cured, and people have came out about it, and they upset with the powers that be because they lost children and family members because of cancer when they could have been saved. You know what I mean? And they had to go through chemotherapy and things like that. And I've seen it firsthand, and I don't want to ever see it again. So hopefully they can come to the table eventually and fix it. I know they had the cure for years, and all around saying that it's pending, but they should have already released it.
I agree with you on that, Ike. The reason why I believe you on that theory is because they have advanced technology nowadays where they say they go up in. Sorry for touching on this, but they go up into space. They make these spaceships. They have this incredible technology. These science outbreaks. These cures for everything
they
else.
They go up into fake space. No, go ahead.
These cures for everything else. But
yeah.
They don't have a cure for cancer yet. It's kind of hard to believe, but they have a cure for many stuff, and I haven't done the research on it. I just have my own personal theory that they do have a cure for cancer. They're just not releasing it out for I don't know what reason, for whatever reason.
It's because it's a money making thing. Just like you take the $52 million a day that NASA receives. On the second transplant for my daughter, they wanted $500,000. They weren't accepting insurance.
$52 million a day. Wow.
And they wanted $500,000 for my daughter to get a second transplant. You know what I'm saying?
A day. If they just took their day's profit and spread it all around the world.
Yeah, that's all around. Just said that's what he said. Just 52 million
in a day, right?
52 million. That's what they receive every day.
Wow.
In tax money from us.
I never seen that fact, but if that is a really
just look into it.
If that's a fact,
why do you think they're hiding flat Earth? Remember we talked about this? Yeah. Because if flat Earth was out and they knew we couldn't get past low Earth orbit, you think that people would keep paying taxes like that? NASA would keep receiving $52 million a day? No, there'd be an uproar, dude. Why do you think it's being hidden, dude? See how it's coming out now? See how it's eventually coming to the surface, dude? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just more on this altruism topic. I'm not on any other topic, but
Yeah.
I'm just wishing that if they were making I have to do more research to make sure that fact is credible. But if that is true, why can't, if that was spread just one day's profit to the world will be a better place. I think more people will be practicing altruism. I think people not having money in their pocket, I think I just came to a realization. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Now I just came to another realization that money can be a big factor in someone practicing altruism.
How about
because I think I'd be a little it'd be a little harder for me to be nice to someone if someone was making billions of dollars off of me and I was living in a little 100 square foot home with 3 kids and a wife, and I'm working hard to produce this wealth for this person.
Yeah.
So I think that would prevent me from being nice every day if I was in that situation.
And they get so bored. Them 1% billion and trillionaires, they get so bored. That's why they get involved in all these illegal activities. You know what I mean?
Maybe they wouldn't be so bored if they were able to go out there and contribute to people being poor, or just not to be sleeping on a bench. Maybe they'd feel some type of different
sympathy,
way.
Huh?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, all around flat. Let me ask you this question. I know who this guy is, G. Soros, but you said he's on his 6th heart transplant. Is that true? And how old is he? I don't know how old he is. I hear about him like every day for some reason. But I can't remember. It's kind of late and I got kind of tired, so I can't remember. I'm supposed to still do the jam tonight. I'm kind of wiped out. He said that I know who he is. He's on his 6th heart transplant. Does that seem right? Let me see. Okay. Oh, he's 80 something years old. I know. I hear about him every day. Every day he pops up for some reason. He pops up. I just can't think of for what reason that I hear about him so much for.
Yeah, I'm glad I came up to this another realization that I really haven't studied on. I've been studying of why people can't practice altruism all over the world. I think another good topic to research on to add to it is wealth and poverty level.
Yeah, and the guy, the co-owner of Facebook, or former co-owner, said that he owns a chunk of the country. So the co-owner of Facebook, former co-owner or co-executive or something, he says that in the future, this is a quote, this is his quote, that he's going to have better health care than us because, he's a billionaire, trillionaire. So he has better, I can't remember what his name is right now. So that's one thing, these trillionaires, these billionaires, just like what he's saying with George Soros, who's had a 6th heart transplant. Some people can't even get one.
Yeah, that'll cost, I'm guessing in my own head with the healthcare costs in the United States, I'm guessing that's about $500,000. What do you think?
It has to be right around there. So
at least a couple $100,000. That's a good topic to bring up because a good example that I see is Magic Johnson. He looks great.
He don't have nothing, man.
He has a lot of money. And
he has a lot of money. That's all he has.
He looks phenomenal.
Yeah, that's all he has is a lot of bread.
Doesn't he look like a normal guy? He looks healthy. He's about what? How old is he? 50 years old?
50 something, yeah.
And he looks good for his age. He even looks like he's in his late 30s, early 40s to me. He looks great.
I'll tell you a real quick story about him before we go, so we close up here a little bit, because I got to try to get on right now with the jam. Sorry about this, guys. My allergies act up every once in a while. So when Magic Johnson was this is how I know about a little bit about the elites and stuff like that. When he was 15 years old, he was a freshman in high school. He could just give 10 million. Oh, jeez. So when he was 15 years old, he was in high school. There were riots and fights and stuff breaking out at the high school. So
this is Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson, yeah. So he, nobody knew who he was, and there were seniors older than him, you know what I mean, all kinds of stuff like that. So he says, yeah, the man came to me, like the man back when we were young kids, the man meant like the police, but to him, he was saying the man like rich somebody. The way I read into it was like somebody rich came to him and said, you need to talk to all the students and have them all calm down. You know what I mean? So I kind of read in between the lines, and basically, he was at this time he was broke. He didn't have he was in a poor family, and basically he was, people are picked. The people who become billionaires and trillionaires, they're picked out. You understand what I'm saying? They're picked out from when they're little, so they knew he was going to become. They knew what he was going to become already. So that's just something I want to add to this.
Yeah, I'm just on the topic of how that sparked up my curiosity muscles when he talked about the transplants, and how you're saying that he can get better healthcare in the future. I'm using an example of Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
We don't want to touch too, because we're on the altruism topic.
Yeah.
So I see Magic Johnson looks great. I wonder if he's receiving some type of different healthcare because he has a better amount of wealth than some people, because most of the people that I've seen in my lifetime, in my experiences with people who have the same disease, they don't look
get the
as great as Magic Johnson. Mm-hmm. And some of them are like 30 years old and they look like 70 years old, and it's really sad to see, but Magic Johnson looks really good to me, and that's just my observation. I wonder if he's receiving some type of health care, and if he is, how come a regular average Joe person like I see in my everyday life does not receive that health care? If this is true, then that's really sad to see and sad to hear.
One of my favorite rappers when I subscribed to rap music was Eazy-E. And from what we know, he didn't. There's two sides of the fence. There's one side says he did die from HIV. One side said he didn't. But you do know that you can get tested in Colorado and have HIV, and you can go get tested in New York and not have it.
Huh? Where'd you see that study at?
It's out. It's a study that's just.
What source did you find that at from?
You just got to look it up from the medical resources, man, and you can, and it's out, dude. It's
what's a credible source that you've seen that come from? I'm curious.
From the actual medical book, dude. You could look it up, dude.
What medical book are you talking about?
From the medical book of science, dude. You could look that up, and they have people actual evidence of people taking a test in a certain state.
But what author? What book?
And then crossing over from the medical book of science.
That's what it. Okay, what author is that?
I don't know who the author is, but it's the medical book of science, dude.
Oh, okay. And you believe in those results?
We don't know what the truth is anymore. We don't know what we're being told. As far as what we're being told, we don't know what the truth is anymore. So, but we do know that people have taken tests, say Utah, and they've had the virus, and then they've taken a test in Texas and they don't have the virus no more. And it's something about where they take the test at, dude. And this is medical proof, man. It's real.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying?
I have to look up that source in that book.
And they've actually said that Magic Johnson has taken the test and not have the virus in his system no more.
Huh.
But they said
I never heard of that before.
Yeah, look that up too. They said that
because still to this day they say he still has the disease.
Yeah, but they said it's the reason he hasn't got sick or died is because he started taking the cocktail at such a young age. Right away when he first got it. You know what I mean? All right, man. You got anything you want to close it out with? Ike Diaz live with my co-host tonight.
What's our conclusion with you on altruism? Why people can't practice it? If you have any new insight on it, if you learned anything new, and your whole insight on altruism, your whole overall perspective on it.
I think that everybody could use it. You know what I mean? Everybody could bring it into their life, but I don't think that for one, I don't want to call people stupid or ignorant or anything. I just think that people don't even know what it is. You know what I mean? I think that people have to be taught about it, and then they could use it more in their life. Like when I was giving out all those books, remember, like the Rhonda Byrne books that I was giving out to everybody, because it teaches you that in those books. It teaches you that. So I think that it's people are just, they don't have the knowledge about it. Like I went through life being ignorant about things. You know what I mean? Like I went through a lot of years, dude, with ignorance, man. And then when I finally started picking things up, dude, when I finally said, man, I gotta learn and I gotta, get better at certain things, things started changing in my life. Things really did. Things really started, my whole perspective of life and my whole outlook at life changed. But before that, I was that kid who, and I told you this before. They said I wouldn't make it till I was 18. Boom, I turned 18. Then they said I wasn't gonna make it till I was 21. Boom, I turned 21. Then they said I wasn't gonna make it till I was 25. Boom, I turned 25. Now look at me, I'm 40 years old. What, these guys can't tell me nothing now. You know what I mean? I'm gonna live to 100 years old. I already know it, dog. But you know what I'm saying? But these are family and friends that said this about me. Family, family said these things about me. You know what I mean? And I proved them all wrong. Man. You know what I mean? So everybody could use it, but I just think that it's they got to build up their knowledge, man. It's all about, like I've told my kids since they were little, they have to learn something new every day. Every day they have to learn something new. It's.
So you think it's someone not getting an education on altruism, and that's why a lot of people can't practice? Is that the realization?
You're not taught in school about it. You're not taught in school. It's the indoctrination system is you're not taught about. You're not taught a lot of things in school. You're taught a theory about gravity, but you're not taught about buoyancy and density, right? They teach you about that? No. Do they teach you about how to treat people? No. Do they teach you how to open up a bank account? No.
Teach you how to manage your credit score?
Do they teach you any of that? No, they don't teach
you how to buy a house.
That's why the school system is. That's why everybody in the true community says it's an indoctrination system. You know what I'm saying? And I look back at the school system, and it was mass hypnosis. It was like
that is true.
Teaching you the same thing over and over and over and over. It never taught you nothing new unless you got into advanced classes. You know what I'm saying?
And only the so-called, in my eyes, elites were able to get into those classes.
Especially private schools. Only the elite kids got into the private schools.
And the reason, because a lot of people, popular argument to what I just said is, well, they were in the same classes. They had the same chance to excel. No, the reason why is because some other kids were raised in upper-class families, and they're able to have resources to internet access, and lower-income families don't have sources like that. They can go to like internet access. So I think only a certain amount of people are able to go to those advanced classes and learn and excel and learn new stuff. So that's a good thing. That's a good topic that we just brought up. Good topic, Ike. That's a good overall observation of altruism. We really aren't taught altruism in the public school system or private school system.
We're not. That's why when we get out, we're not. People have such a hard time adjusting to life once they get out of school because they're not taught the right skills when they get out of school. You know what I mean? And then you got to remember, like where we come from, a lot of us come from one parent homes. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, 90% of us come from one parent homes. I remember growing up, and I would see a mom and a dad there, and I'd be so happy for those kids. You know what I'm saying? And with me, I only had my mom. My dad was in Texas, so it was hard. You know what I'm saying? And then my stepdad would spend most of his time in Mexico. You know what I mean? So it was a hard situation growing up. There wasn't a father figure there all the time. You know what I mean? And I can't just complain about myself because I know a lot of kids went through that. So they weren't taught those lessons, you know what I mean, early on in life from not just the school system, which those lessons should have been taught at home too. You know what I mean? It's not just up to the school system, but it should have been taught at home too. But, even I wasn't taught that. I could look back and say maybe they were giving me hints at it, but I wasn't taught a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I look back and I get I know rich people's kids don't go to public schools; they go to private schools.
Yeah.
Well, you hear about the ladies from Full House and
well, there's a lot of like middle upper class kids though. I was saying not exactly rich kids, but middle class. I'd say too. They have more resources than let's say a lower middle class student.
Well, look at the ladies from Full House.
There's a lot of middle school kids who go to public school systems.
Yeah. What I was saying though with the ladies from Full House is they got busted because they put all kinds of money into USC and their kids got accepted into USC.
Oh, I seen that.
So did a basketball player too, or somebody.
So yeah, that's another good thing that you brought up. I heard that on the radio the other day about 2 weeks ago that parents were paying for their kids to get into these colleges, taking spots that people should have.
That other kids should have.
Yeah, they should have had. They should have had full rides to. They worked their butt off, but these kids who probably just got C's and D's were able to get in these top schools, elite schools, just because of money. And other kids who deserved it worked their butt off, who had more potential and intelligence to contribute to this world, to this earth. Maybe that's another contributing factor right there is they weren't able to practice altruism because they're beat out by the so-called elites.
When you work your butt off all your life, and
that would upset me. That would make me hard to practice altruism.
You think you're getting into that school, and you got straight A's. You were the valedictorian in your high school, and you were in these advanced classes, and then some kid comes along. His parents are rich, and he got C's. They
have two parents, and they could have been raised like what you just said, just one parent family home. They're upset. Man, they got two parents. They have money. They got into school. I worked my butt off. They got C's and D's. If I was in that position, it would be really hard for me to practice altruism. Wow.
Once again,
I keep coming to new realizations.
I know.
It's crazy.
Dapper Mike coming through tonight. But anyway, Ike Diaz Live. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. It's been awesome tonight, guys. I want to thank All Around Flat. He's going to be on the podcast with me tomorrow, so make sure you check out All Around Flat tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure you check that out. It's going to be another awesome podcast like tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We want to thank
you, Chris, everyone on my eye.
Brother Irv.
Yep.
Who else is there?
I'm so thankful for the viewers and their comments, because without their comments, we wouldn't have came to this realization and new education. And thank you so much, Ike, for having me on the show. And make sure to turn into Ike Diaz Live tomorrow with
All Around Flat.
Sorry, I keep forgetting. I have a bad memory.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good podcast. We were supposed to do it tonight. I'm gonna try to go on with the jam here in about 20 minutes. So if you want to check out the jam, if you check this out a little later, make sure you stop by the jam. You can check out the jam all week. It's available 24/7 over on Speaker.com, over at KBLP LLC4. You can check out all the podcasts, so they are all cool. Once again, thanks.
Thank you again for Ike for having me on the podcast. Look forward to doing more podcasts. Drop a like, drop a comment of what you would like us to touch on next for the next podcast and what guests you'd like us to collaborate with. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you all around flat, man. I appreciate it. I'll be ready for you tomorrow, man. Thank you everybody who tuned in tonight and everybody who listens later. You guys are all awesome. Ike Diaz live. Tap a mic in the house with me later.